Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is time for some Wrestlechat. We haven't done one of these in a little while. Just had so much going on. It's been crazy. It's still crazy, but I just felt like, yeah, it's too much time. We need to get together and do a little something. So here we are. It's all set up here real quick. All right. So there's a lot of stuff on the agenda to talk about tonight. And to help me do that, we're going to bring in our old friend. You know him, it's J-Rocks. Say hello, Jay.
Hello, Jay. God, it's been a while since I've done that.
I know. It's been a while. I was thinking about it. I was like, I think it's been like almost a week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks. I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Life has just really been kicking the dick out of me lately.
I know.
And it ain't much better right now, but I was like, I just need to do this. And as a little stress relief or whatever you want to call it. And I figure if the end of the world is coming, let's go out and have some fun.
Right.
Got balloons flying 8 days across our country. You know, we don't want to shoot it down because it might fall on somebody's house. Like, you know what? Better one person than the whole damn country, you stupid fuck.
Right.
Well, that wasn't the planned start of this thing. All right. Well, let's get into what was the planned start of this thing. And we already gave the share screen. That's what I'm looking for. Boom. I'm a little rusty at this thing now. I got to try and remember where everything's at. There we go. We lost Lanny, Poffo, and I forgot to add the fact that right now Jerry the King Lawler, of course, is not doing well. Last I heard, I don't know if anything's improved, but
I saw where JR posted that he talked to him. His speech is still a little wonky, but he was able to understand him, so he is talking. It's going to be a while, but it looks like he's going to make a recovery. So,
well, that's the second person that I know of in recent weeks. You know, the guy has been around cutting my lawn for years now. Really cool dude, and he isn't even that old. He's in like late 40s, and he had a stroke right before Christmas, and had the whole paralysis thing. Couldn't speak. He's slowly but surely getting better. I don't think he'll be cutting grass anytime soon, if ever.
Right.
Sounds a lot like what the King's dealing with right now, and can't do anything besides send lots of prayers and wishes and all that kind of good stuff. I think it's safe to say he won't be in the ring anymore, but it would be nice to be able to get him back on the board there during the premium events and the pre-shows and stuff like that. Oh man, never a good time.
Yeah, I'm not digging the way the year's starting off with the wrestlers.
No. It's not good at all. Andrew Roberts, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much. XPW always. Thank you again.
There he is.
And as I said earlier, the clown's in the house. I gotta get like I gotta get one of those little goofy sound effect horns. Those little squeaky horns. Actually, I gotta get one. Period. I'll just keep it here. Be like the old Howard Stern show when he just had the old sound effects right there in the studio.
Right.
Back when he was funny. I remember those days. They're gone now, but they let it fly across Canada, never said a word. Clown, I got a funny feeling they were probably in on the joke. Justin Trudeau is such a communist, it's not funny. I got, who do I follow on Twitter? Is it Theo Fleury? The former hockey player, and man, he just tears Trudeau apart daily.
Kind of like what we do with Biden.
Purist, what's up? Now, I was actually talking about the fact that they were flying a fucking Chinese spy balloon over our whole country, and they allowed it to happen.
Right.
But yeah, that earthquake thing is pretty rough too, and I was telling my girlfriend earlier because she's like watching all this stuff and it's freaking her out. And I was like, hey, we're in Florida, so the odds of an earthquake are significantly low. But unlike our natural disasters, you know, when we get a hurricane, we got time to prepare and we know how long it's going to be, things like that. And generally speaking, unless a tornado comes through, you'll be all right. With those earthquakes and shit, I mean, you're sleeping in the middle of the night. You might not even realize what's going on until it's too late. And I'm not in any way looking forward to something like that. Indeed, prayers for the king and for Lanny. I mean, man, he was what, 60, 68?
Let's see. Yeah,
he was like
he was
68.
just a little bit younger than my dad. Yeah.
Well, the balloon wasn't really shot down in the United States. They waited for it to get across the last border, and then they shot it down after it took a full tour of the United States.
Right.
You know what, Purist? I hope you're right, but man, he's already died
this is
once.
the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say he died the first time legit. And he's been back in the ring all this time. I mean, God bless him. That's like Flair with a pacemaker. The fact that you can train and get back to some form of ring shape. Not that he did well in the match, but that's, you know, making me feel like a fat, lazy bum over here. Can't stick to a push-up schedule, for the love of God. I was doing so good a year ago, too. I'm pissed at myself a little bit.
Oh.
Already toured Canada. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
I don't know.
We won't.
I don't know.
We won't talk about the workouts because I guess I got into my head that since I'm 50 and I'm going back to school, I can do anything at this age. So I went and got a gym membership. And not only did I start working out, but I started doing Sheamus's workouts from YouTube. And my body is kicking my ass.
You do realize that you work your way up to something like that, right?
Well, I'm not doing like the full things that he's doing, but I'm trying to do as much of them as I can, but still at 50 years old going, yeah. So.
Yeah. Man, it don't get no easier. Purist, you didn't know Lanny Poffo was the genius? How can you be a wrestling purist and not know that? I think we got to put him in timeout already.
Shame on you.
I feel like he has to go in timeout for that. I'm going to give you one pass. I don't know how I'm passing on that. That's a definite punishable offense. Yes, he was the genius. He actually started out as Lanny Poffo in WWE also. He didn't immediately go. That was an evolution of sorts.
Yeah, because he did the thing there with the Frisbees first, and then when he went to the Genius, he did away with that.
Yeah, because then he had the scroll.
Right.
All right, well, let's see. I got some stuff pulled up here. We've got the All-South Wrestling Alliance. That's where he kicked his career off back in 1974. He debuted losing to Wayne Cowan. Don't know who the heck that is, but that's who he lost to. Let me make this a little bigger. Get out of here. I don't want to get it too big because then the white light flushes me out even more than I'm already being flushed out. Let me take this off. Hold on. That's a little better. Got a win over the Great Fuji in 74. If that's not Mr. Fuji, then I have no idea who it is. And of course, he did team with Angelo Poffo and Randy Savage at one point in time. Now, that might have gone to Mid-South before that happened. NWA in 74 to 78. Still in his rookie career. Went to Big Time Wrestling. Oh, he did the graduation gown and cap way back.
Really?
Before the WW, apparently. Hey, it's in Wikipedia, so. He began a house show series against the team of Bobo Brazil and Fred Curry. Good luck with that, rookie. The two wrestled, two meaning he and his dad, wrestled as heels with Angelo wearing graduation gown. With Angelo wearing a graduation gown and cap similar to what Lanny didn't wear. Dad wore it, which is weird.
Huh.
That year, they won the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Did not know that. And the father-son duo held it until 75. Wow. Atlantic Grand Prix in 78. I'm not familiar with their work. Back to the NWA International Championship Wrestling, 79 to 84. We're getting closer to the point in time where I know who he is. International Championship Wrestling, ICW, an outlaw rival to NWA affiliates. Eventually, Angelo further expanded. Oh, this was an Angelo territory. Got you. Then we go to Mid-South, and again, this is kind of where I'm picking him up. Shortly before the dissolution of ICW, Lanny began making appearances in Bill Watts' Mid-South against the Midnight Express. So I've got some old matches there where he and Randy went up against the Midnight Express several times. They had a good little feud going on. That was the first time I ever saw someone pile drive through a table. And it wasn't like a table that they use today. It was like a couple of 2x4s for legs, some 2x4 frame, and I don't know what kind of plywood across the top. But when you went through that son of a bitch, it made a noise, and I got to imagine it was no fun.
I would love to see those matches. I'll have to go and see if I can find those.
So I used to have them on my old channel, which is why I don't have my old channel anymore. I have them on the Kit Parker collection of VHS tapes, which for anyone who remembers, I think it was a 5 series, and I think you could get one a month or something like that. They were just like plain white boxes, and some really, really good stuff on there. I might pull those out for a future edition, and I can't show them here. I have no way of running a VCR through this, but at the very least, we could see what the lineup was, and now I'm going to want to watch them. Can only do that in the living room at the moment. It's the only place left that has a VCR. Then to the WWF in 85 to 92. We're all pretty familiar, I think, by this point in time with his career there. He does hold a victory over Hulk Hogan on Saturday night's main event.
Really?
By a count out.
Hey, a victory's a victory.
It's a W.
Yeah.
Independent circuit, 93-94. Back to the WWF in 94. 19-month absence. Poffo returned and defeated Coco Beware in 2 house shows in Florida. His final WWF match was a loss to Mabel on June 11th. Yeah, if you're losing to Mabel, it's probably time to leave.
Yeah.
I forgot he didn't actually wrestle, though. He was on World Championship Wrestling. So he did WCW, but he got signed, and they never used him. But Randy paid his salary. Let's see what they say about it here. He may have wrestled only once during his time there. 2 sites record him as having defeated a preliminary wrestler in a dark match. But yeah, we've never actually seen this match in Fort Myers. In a later shoot interview, Poffo explained that he was contracted by his brother, who was wrestling in WCW at the time, with the guarantee of a contract. Savage, who had purchased the Gorgeous George gimmick. That's right. It's all coming back to me now. So Randy picked up the Gorgeous George gimmick, paid for it from the heirs of Gorgeous George.
Okay.
And the character was going to go to Poffo, feeling that his brother would generate heat as a heel. Poffo signed the contract with WCW. You got to remember, WCW at this time is bringing in John Tenta and calling him a shark, so anything goes.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. If you throw it against the wall, don't matter if it sticks or not, we're going to just throw it against the wall.
If it slowly slides down, we'll take it.
Indeed. Justice. Everything's out of whack right now. He was supposed to bleach his hair blonde in preparation for the return. As he recalled, despite being under contract for 5 years and receiving regular paychecks, he was never contacted with any bookings. Even though he was calling, they were not taking his calls, and they never used him. So the easiest.
But he got paid for those 5 years.
Yeah, by his brother, by Randy.
Hey.
Yep, $150,000 a month, I believe, is what the number was.
Oh, damn.
No shit. Last 15 years, late career, he had a 6 year sabbatical and then came back in. If anyone hasn't seen it, there was this semi-shoot thing he did with a guy named Hannibal. I'm not a big fan of Hannibal, and I don't support him in any way, shape, or form. I think he's kind of the stuff on the bottom of your shoe on a good day. He's another one of those Hep C guys that didn't tell people. And then recently, he just got busted in the last couple of years for, I don't know if it was underage or something like that. I mean, it was really bad. It's basically shut him down quite a bit. Still has his YouTube channel. Sometimes he still gets some guys to sit in there and do interviews with him. I won't watch anything on his anymore. But anyway, that all said, there was a small independent show that the two of them had a spot on. And there's pretty famous video of the backstage fallout from that. And if it wasn't a shoot, then Lanny really missed his calling throughout his career, because this was some of the best acting he's ever done. He walked in there pissed, and I mean, dropping the bombs and the, you son of a bitch. Basically, that he worked too stiff on Randy. I'm 50-something years old, whatever it was at the time, and you can't be. And then Hannibal, who's a big dude, kind of, you know, hey man, just chill out. And there's Wayne Ferris honky tonk man trying to split them up and all that. And it ended up getting into a pretty realistic looking brawl. So a lot of people say it was a shoot. I think he even said it was a shoot or a work. I'm sorry, beg your pardon. I believe he even said it was a work. But nobody believed it, including the guys in the locker room at the time. So just saying, if it was, then you did a good job of fooling everybody, including me. Big JH, he had blonde hair in the 70s, though. I've never seen him with blonde hair. Never seen a picture of him with blonde hair. I don't doubt it. I'm trying to imagine it, and I'd prefer him the way I know him.
Right.
Feel like it would be spitting on the image.
I know that's what I was trying to do, is picture him doing the Gorgeous George with the blonde hair and everything, and I'm just like, I just couldn't picture it.
And it sounds like they're saying cause of death is heart failure, so that may be all we know. We live in a world right now where people, when they start dropping dead earlier on than normal, and it's heart related, there's a natural question people want to know whether or not they were vaccinated and whether that may have played a role, because God knows if there is any kind of fallout from that drug, they're never going to tell us about it. So, never to be known the answer probably on that one. But
see, for me, it's more of a when it's like heart failure and stuff like that, I look towards having used steroids early in their careers and stuff like that. Yeah. So
definitely a possibility. I mean, look, it's wrestling, and we know that these guys and ladies in some cases, they partake in a number of different things to help them get through a rough schedule and some physical beating. And, you know, we also know a lot more about the effects of these things now than we did back in their day. So, it's hard to say. Jay says, I just sent you a link. Where'd you just send me a link? I don't see it. I'm looking everywhere. I don't see it. And a link to what?
Oh, it might not let him put it in the chat.
Oh. Well, then I didn't get it. You know I can't show that porn stuff on here, right? Just kidding.
I think it was probably a picture of Lanny with blonde hair.
Oh. Nah, the porn would have been better. All right.
Speaking of porn.
Jeez, were we? Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if you got this on tap to talk about, but I actually watched NXT last night, and I've got to talk about the match with the thing with Gigi and JC Jane.
I haven't even watched NXT from last night. How into porn do I want to even know?
Let's just say the marks on Gigi's face. Oh my God. You shouldn't be allowed to wear combat boots if you're going to do a spot like they did.
Now I gotta watch NXT, which I really wasn't planning to be honest with you. I record all the shit, and then I get to a certain day of the week, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood this week for this shit.
I mean, if you want to skip it, I can tell you what happened.
No, now I'm gonna watch
or
it.
Okay. All right.
Even
Well, then I won't say
it
nothing
was
else.
great last night.
I can't say much about the whole show, but that spot, I give them props for it. And it has Shawn Michaels' fingerprints all fucking over it.
I'll be watching it when we get done with this now. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Retro in the house was up. All right, so that concludes segment 1. Moving on to segment 2, which is the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I know it was over a week ago. Just haven't had a chance to do anything about it. Several spots stood out to me. This was a pretty cool one. Now, am I the only one that likes the original Gunther better than the slimmed down Gunther?
Yeah, I liked him better when he was a little bit bulkier back in NXT when he was Walter.
Because now his head looks too big for his body.
Yeah.
Looks like a bobble almost, man. Not that I'd ever say it to his face. I'm just saying in general, you know.
I mean, this picture here, I think, as imposing as it is, I think would have been 10 times more imposing if it was the old Gunther with the bulk there against Brock's bulk.
Yep, I agree too. But at the same time, wouldn't mind seeing this match.
Oh no, that I could see that. If they don't do what they're supposed to do with him and Sheamus at WrestleMania, I would pay for this one.
We've already seen it. We've already seen that. I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, but he's still. I mean, he needs that. He needs that title. It's the only one he's never held.
Yeah, this was friggin' sick.
Yeah,
I was everything about that moment. Did it really do anything? Maybe not. But it is getting harder every day to do something in pro wrestling we haven't seen before. And with the uplighting in the background, this was spectacular.
It was. I was going to say it was just
on Impact was just like I was like, fuck.
And then the crash at the end on the mat, just wow.
And of course, the pop heard around the world, man. That crowd popped, and that's a
dude. I did. I was watching it live, and when they both looked at each other, I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" And then they both jumped up and sprung off and collided. Like I literally screamed, "Holy shit!"
Me too. I was just like, when I saw them looking at each other, I thought they were going to both jump on someone else, like simultaneously. And it's like them fly across the air like that. And you know they couldn't have rehearsed that. I mean, they may have rehearsed the jump, but you're not going to run the risk, even with the crash pads and stuff. You're not going to run the risk, I don't think, of two of your, one main name. And that was sick as shit. And just, if you know anything from, you've been around where they've put the rings together, the size of the rings are 20 by 20. To make that leap, each one had to jump up 10 feet in the air and then 10 feet across. And they hit way above the ring ropes, too. It wasn't like they hit almost at the ground level. They hit at an apex point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They leapt 10 feet across, and they're about 10 feet up in the I'd say 10 to 12 feet in the air.
Yeah, that was insane. Hell of a visual. Wonder if that'll be in the game.
And again, if this is all they use Logan Paul for, I'm fine with it because he's not. They're using him. I think they're using him in a good way, and he's able to. He's showing he can do all these different things with all these different wrestlers.
Well, another thing about the WWE, we should really give credit to. I mean, for all the years gone by, going back to the first WrestleMania. There's always been celebrity involvement, and WCW's done it, AEW does it. Nobody has done quality celebrity involvement like the WWE in the last 12 months.
Right.
Even Jackass, what's his name there, Knoxville, had a hell of a match. He ain't no wrestler, and he still had a hell of a match. Hey, he ain't no David Arquette. Say that tongue in cheek because that's the alternative. You have your Mr. T's, who at least at Mania was viable as Hogan's tag team partner and a tag team guy. Then he comes in WrestleMania 2 as a slash boxer, what have you. That was a joke. Then he came back in WCW for a one match with, I think, Kevin Sullivan. That was terrible. Who else, celebrity-wise, crashed and burned? Oh, Jay Leno. WCW just raided the friggin' box office, whatever name they could throw up there. Shaquille O'Neal did okay, but waited way too long. He should have, like, when Flair and Hogan first came to WCW, and Flair and Hogan had the big match in Orlando, and Hogan won the title from Flair, and Shaq was the special enforcer or whatever his role was. That would have been a great time, but he was in the NBA. I get it. You're not going to run the risk of injury with an NBA contract. But back then, he would have been a lot more viable. This AEW match that he had, not so good. Tyson's never really done anything in the ring other than be a referee or take a one-punch shot at people, things like that. He's never actually been in the ring for a match. Teased it a few times.
Right.
And now would be too old to be good. Who else? Andy Kaufman's the last one that's been good.
Yeah.
Up until you look at the current roster. So, again, you got Knoxville doing great. You got Logan doing great. Bad Bunny. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck a Bad Bunny is. Now I have a clue, but I hate his music. But I'm not going to take anything away. That man is killing it in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
He shouldn't.
Yeah.
He's got no reason to be good, but he is damn good.
Stephen Amell. He did fairly well in the match that he had.
Who's this?
Stephen Amell. Green Arrow. Green Arrow from CW.
Yeah, I recall vaguely. It's going back a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
What was it, Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, it was him. It was another tag team match. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was him and somebody against Seth Rollins and a partner. And I can't remember the other.
The special GM thing at that point? Was that how he was involved? Was he not a special GM that night or some shit?
No, he was actually. It was like the week before he was in the audience because who was it that somebody had appeared on Arrow, and then he was on in the audience. You know, they did the camera shot and stuff. And then Seth Rollins came out and was talking smack to him, and Amell jumped the barricade and came in the ring, and then that set up for the following week where there was a tag match between them and stuff. And then they ended up having us one-off at what was the pay-per-view? I think it was the Survivor Series one year.
Yeah, I only remember it vaguely because you mentioning it now, and it does. I remember something about a green, and I never watched Green Arrow, but I do recall that happening. But yeah, so like I said, they've done a great job with celebrity involvement. That they actually got guys that can do things and that earn the fans' respect. Not easy to do.
Yeah, they're not going to put the title on them.
No. Although Logan, hey, never say never. I mean, hell, they gave him a world title match.
Logan would be the one I could see getting a title run of some sort.
For a number of reasons. Number one, he's got the physical frame. He's got the look. He knows how to play the fans, whichever way he's going to take it. And he has a huge fan following, which is, at the end of the day, what WWE is all about. Who can bring merch sales, who can bring ticket sales. And Logan could do that. Don't see it being a long-term thing, but it wouldn't shock me if he ends up having a day in the sun.
Right.
To nobody's surprise whatsoever, number 30 was Cody Rhodes. Couldn't have written it more poorly. Lazy booking. At least had him come in at 25, so there's the element of maybe, but I get it. They're probably scared shitless of him getting injured.
See, me personally, I would have preferred somewhere between 15 and 25. Because
I just think they were worried about injury.
I understand that, but coming in at number 30, you can't say I outlasted 29 other guys. You outlasted 6 other guys. That was it. Coming in at 15, at least you could have said I outlasted half the guys in the roster or in the match.
Well, I mean, technically he did
that's just my opinion.
29 other guys because there were 30 in that entered and the other ones didn't make it.
Oh,
I mean, it's a
semantics.
technicality. I get your point, and I actually agree with it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, somebody got to be number 30.
Yeah.
And the fact that number 29 came out and it wasn't him, it's like, well, you might as well just send him too, because we now know there's like no element of surprise anymore, which is a really shitty way to book a Royal Rumble. At least have him be 29, so we're not sure who 30 is.
I didn't like the back-to-back things they did in that match either. It was like Brock came out, so you knew Bobby was next.
Oh,
It was just like, yeah. And they did that.
Screens. I forgot to grab some screens of the women's, and I didn't do that, unfortunately. But the women's wasn't terrible. What I will say about the women's match is how close they came to fucking it up.
Yeah.
Rhea on the apron taking that bump and near miss where she grabs the top rope. You're sweaty. The ropes could be sweaty or wet. That could have gone all kinds of bad right there, man. And what's Vince going to run down and blow out 2 quads again? I couldn't believe they did that spot. It looked great. The drama was real, as real as it gets, because not that I thought for a minute she was supposed to lose, but goddamn, if you're going to run that risk right there, she might. And we all know they're going to go with it if it happens. Women's match was good. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, no Rock at the Rumble. So there was a lot of speculation, a lot of anticipation. I thought it could happen, but I also knew that it probably wouldn't, based on what it sounds like he has going on for his schedule. But then the WWE's also done a much better job of throwing curveballs, even if they're small ones. So, case in point, when Pat McAfee came out, literally nobody knew. Nobody. Michael Cole legitimately did not know. Everything.
I know. I watched I watched the thing on YouTube. It was Pat McAfee's podcast, and he had Michael Cole on, and he was asking him, he was like, how'd you feel about that? He's like, and I've never heard Michael Cole drop the F-bomb, but he's like, I was fucking floored. He's like, how they kept you a secret.
Yep.
And he's like, mine and Corey's reactions were legitimate. He's like, we did not know. And I guess he had, when Pat McAfee's music first hit, I guess Cole was like, he had Triple H in his ear going, are you going to sell this? And he's like, sell what? He's like, I did not know whose music it was at first until you walked out. And then when I saw you, then I knew what to sell.
And what's funny about that is I just got done watching the Chris Van Vliet interview with Hornswoggle.
Oh, okay.
What a great, you guys got to check that out. It was so easy to sit through this. And first off, Hornswoggle, Dylan, is like the chillest guy in the history of wrestling. I mean, he is just so perfectly fine with his role. And whatever they threw at him, there was never a, well, would that work for my character? Okay, I'm in. Right. It was supposed to be only like a 3 to 6 month deal, made it a 10-year career. Not bad, right? And one of the things that TVV was asking him is, what are you thinking about a Hall of Fame possibility at some point in time? And he's like, I don't even think about it. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I don't even want it. Because he asked him if he thought maybe he should have gone in with DX. He's like, I was a mascot. I'm fine with it. Okay, I get that.
Right.
But realistically, how do you not put him in the Hall of Fame? I mean, there's no midget career you're going to compare with his. None. Not even close.
No, and I mean, just all the different people that he worked with over the years. I mean, you mentioned it. DX, Vince himself, Fitz Finley, God, there's been a few others, but
Guerrero.
Those are the top 3 that I remember.
I mean, he was a cruiserweight friggin' champion.
Yeah, he was. I forgot about that.
He had Little People's Court, which, damn it, that was the funniest friggin' thing of all time.
And again, that was with DX. So
we ladders and tables and chairs.
You're right.
I mean, this was gold, man. I mean, the guy, and like he was saying, I worked with every one of those friggin' celebrity GMs. It's like, what are we gonna do with this one? Give him the Hornswoggle. Give him Hornswoggle. And you know, you were what just tripped that in my mind because A, I just watched it earlier today, and B, you're talking about Cole being on the headset. What they did with Hornswoggle to have him prepared to come out from under that ring. That man lived under the ring.
Oh yeah, legitimately.
I mean, he was there before the fans got in the building under the ring.
Yeah.
Unless, as he said, there were some times, if I was lucky, where I would get there and not have to go under the ring until maybe halfway through a show because they would have a lights out moment where the arena goes dark and there's a video screen up. And excuse me, now everybody's looking up at the video screen. And then they would like shoot
and he's small enough to sneak out.
Yeah, they basically had some like camera guys around him or something like that, so that if anyone did pay attention, they wouldn't notice him because he'd be in the middle of this crew, and they'd act like they're messing with the skirting or something like that, and then he'd underneath. But most of the time, he was there from right before fans came in the building, and he'd be listening to everything on. Again, you got to check this thing out. It's brilliant stuff, great stories. And he'd hear everything. The producers, Vince, AAA, anyone who's on a headset or a microphone, he's hearing all this conversation. Mainly because he has to know when it's his turn.
I just remembered another spot that I loved from him. It was a 20-man battle royal. It was on SmackDown, and it came down to Sheamus, somebody else, and Hornswoggle. And Hornswoggle almost eliminated Sheamus. And I loved that match. It was great.
I have not seen that one, but at least I don't recall seeing that one. But yeah, so anyway, he was talking about he had one overseas match where the match going on above, and imagine you're sitting there for 2.5 hours listening to these thuds a foot and a half above your head, night in and night out. And he said, that's probably why I'm wearing a hearing device today. No doubt. So the match going on above him was Undertaker, Kane, and I forget what other monstrosity against DX, let's say. I forget. It was some big guys. No, it was Great Khali. Oh, hell.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to say Viscera. I'm not sure, but we're talking about six-man monster tag match.
Right.
Finley was involved in it because he was supposed to come out for Finley. And the spot was Taker's down. He's supposed to pop up, come up on the Undertaker, and the Undertaker sits up and scares the shit out of him when he runs away. Okay? He's not coming out from under the ring. He fucking fell asleep. He says, I've been doing it so long, dude. That's like I toned that shit out. I could sleep through that match. So here's Finley going under the goddamn ring saying, are you dead? Because he thought he was dead or something. He thought some part of the ring fell off, hit him in the head. He was face down. Apparently, he may have been overserved the night before. So he's like, I was really tired. It was a European tour. I was tired. You understand me? I was tired. I wasn't overserved. I was tired. So he must have been really fucking tired. So here's Finley waking him up. He comes in. He gets, oh, shit, I'm so fucking... I get in the ring now. I'm walking over toward the Undertaker the whole time. I'm sorry. Taker does the sit-up. He rolls out and all that. End of the night, goes in the back, and Taker looks and says, where the fuck were you? And he's, I fell asleep. No, really, where were you? He's, I fell asleep. And I'm like, I'm fired. Oh, you know what? It was a great 2-year run at that point in time. It was a great 2 years, whatever.
Right.
And apparently Taker didn't rat on him or anything like that. And he bought him like a big brown bottle of liquid of some sort, and they drank it on the bus or whatever it was the deal. And everybody watch this interview. It is gold. And I was already a fan. Now I'm a mega fan.
Right.
Such a cool act. But anyway, all that to tell you guys of the stuff that you hear over the headset. So they did a good job like they did with Hornswoggle on a night. Oh, that's what I brought it to. We talk about the secrets in keeping things under wraps, like some of the stuff that we've seen recently. Hornswoggle being Vince McMahon's son, literally 2 people in that building knew it. Vince McMahon.
Really?
Vince McMahon, and I think maybe Kevin Dunn. That was it. At 3:00 in the afternoon that night, that day, Vince told him, "Where's your bag? It's in the back. Get it right now. You're staying under the ring from 3 in the afternoon." Not one wrestler had a clue. And he told him, "I want you to stay away from the headset because I don't want anyone to know you're there." So he's sitting there and he's thinking to himself, all right, what am I going to do? And he's like, oh, shit, I got the cruiserweight belt in my bag. Do I bring it out with me? And he's like, Kevin. And Vince is like, I told you not to get on the headset. I'm sorry. I've got the cruiserweight title with me. Do I bring that up with me? That's a great fucking question. Yeah. You're supposed to have gold. Yeah, do it. I have a good question. Yes. So nobody, absolutely nobody. Sandman's one of the last guys being eliminated. Did not know who was coming up, that there's somebody coming up from under the ring. Nobody had a friggin' clue. Obviously, it was supposed to be Kennedy, but he fucked up and got fired. So, on the spur, it's like, hey, you're going to be Vince's son. Cool. They wanted to take his phone away from him. He wasn't supposed to. He's, can I please just have you call my dad and tell him? I won't tell him why. I just want my dad to be here. So he calls his father to be there ringside with, I think, his uncle. And I can't tell you anything other than that. Just be there. And Van Vliet nails it right off the bat. He says, so your dad was there to find out that he's not really your dad? Yeah, pretty much. And then you go on to some dog humping the leg thing with Vince. The rest, as they say, is history.
Right.
Watch this interview. It was beautiful. It was really just awesome stuff.
Dude. One last thing with him. I was watching during Christmas time. They had like Christmas clips from the past and everything, and they had one where he sat on Santa's lap and got one wish, and it was the very first time he got to speak.
Yeah, I recall watching an episode where he actually spoke, and I was like, holy shit, but I don't remember what it was per se. So now I know it's that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go and check that one out.
Yeah, he jumped up and he's running to everybody. He's like, I can talk.
Draw me money.
So.
All right, well, that's all that I got about hiding things away from people and trying to pull off surprises nowadays, which gets harder and harder. The Hardy Boys back at WrestleMania like 24, whatever that was in Orlando.
Yeah.
They pulled it off by, shuttling him in last second under cloaks and all that. But at the same time, we all pretty much knew they were going to be there because they just dropped the ROH titles the night before in Tampa. So, yes and no. Wasn't a big shock. This happened.
Yeah.
When you say pop, okay, they talk about the Road Warrior pop. And I do recall Orange County Civic Center back in 86. WWF was going through town, which for Florida back then didn't happen a whole lot because that was NWA territory. And I forget who Hogan's opponent was that night. It really didn't matter. I do remember the feeling that my eardrums were going to burst when he came out. I've never heard, and Orange County, I would guess back then, it was the old Orange County. It was nowhere near the facility that it is today. I would say they might have been able to put 8,000 people in that building. Give or take. It wasn't a real arena. Holy cow. I literally had to clamp my hands over my ears and press together tightly because I felt my eardrums were about to explode. It hurt. Physically hurt from the pop that Hogan got. That's in a closed-in building with probably 8 to 9, 10,000 people. I can tell, even though I was on TV watching this thing, that if you were in that was what, Dallas, Texas Stadium? What stadium were they in? Was that Cowboys Stadium? No. Houston Texans?
Yeah. Yes.
Houston's arena or stadium?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you $1 million that nothing that the Texans did all year long, one time, got that pop.
Right.
In decibel levels. As a matter of fact, I'll bet you that same $1 million that they've never hit decibel levels that high as Sammy did with that one shot with the chair. Now, you and I have already talked about this, but I'll bring it out here on the channel. They had this big dilemma because we know that Roman's probably going to have 2 title matches in 2 nights at Mania. And The Rock was desperately supposed to be one of them, and it hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. It doesn't fucking have to happen. You have your golden boy right now. This is the guy that needs to be on night 1 or night 2. Don't matter. I personally would put him on night 2 because we all know Cody's winning the title. So that now that
right.
luster and ore has worn off, and it sucks. You know, it goes back to Mickey James and the last rodeo. If you can't build a main event that has us saying, I'm not sure who's going to win, then you haven't built a good main event. If he faces Sammy, I can see him not winning, even though it will piss a lot of people off. And if that's going to happen, that has to be night 1. You can't have night 2 end on a bad note.
Right.
But I say you got them at the Chamber. Let it have the controversial ending that it's going to end up having. And then book it for Mania and split the titles that way.
Right. I agree. And it's like, even though I wasn't there live when this happened, I knew it was something specifically special when my mom jumped out of her chair and said, hit him a fucking again.
Like the old days.
That's how I knew Sammy was over. Totally.
Like the old days when the nice old lady would jump out of her chair from her knitting, and God forbid, half of them were knitting front row, and they'd stab you with that shit if they didn't like you.
I mean, because honestly, my mom, she'll watch the wrestling half-heartedly because me and my dad watch it.
Right.
But I know she's invested when that generates a reaction from her.
And what does that say? That she even knew the story? That she got...
I know, right?
I don't think that happened from that one moment. Like, if you turned it on for the first time and watch it for the first time, you'd even get that reaction.
No, that's the thing. It's like, out of everything, this is the storyline she's been keeping up with.
Yeah.
And when she sees things on social... Yeah, when she sees things on social media, she'll come at... Okay, I'll take that back. This and the Judgment Day storyline. Because... when Dominic, we talked about it before, when Dominic got arrested, she was right over there going, did you hear about him getting arrested? I'm like, Mom, it's a work. She's like, no, it's not. I was like, yes, it is. It's storyline. So those 2 stories are what she really cares about out of all of wrestling right now.
Well, and that's really all that's good in the WWE right now. By the way, it wasn't a work. It was a shoot. He's ex-con Don. While he was in the block, man, he had to deal with some shit.
I had the same sentiment about that as Edge said on Monday night.
What's that?
About him having dropping his pants so many times while he was in there.
By the way, one of the best memes I've seen from this, it's where Sammy's connecting right across the back of Roman, and on the same frame, but in the lower segment, is Seth Rollins like in a living room chair, laughing his ass off.
Yeah, and then when they did that, that's because that look he has on his face right there is the same look he had when Seth hit him. So yeah, I get that.
This was so well done, and part of me is happy to see where it's going next. Part of me is incredibly sad to know that whole chemistry bond of all of them is over. I don't know how unhappy I am about the Jay and Jimmy split thing right now. We'll see how they handle it. I was kind of not a fan of watching him. I mean, it could add more drama, and we'll see how it turns out at the end of the day. Maybe, it looks like he's sticking with Sammy for now, and then he costs him the match at Chamber. Who knows?
That's how I'm looking at it too. I think it'll come down. Jay will stand with Jimmy in the end, but I think they want to build up, and they're doing a good job by not having him on the show. He's not been on social media except for the one tweet he said, I'm out. And that's been it. And they kept him quiet. And I like that because it builds that suspense of, is he really breaking off? And then, like you said, let him show up at Chamber, show that he's still with Roman and Jimmy and Solo, and then you can play off that going into WrestleMania.
Yeah. And setting up for the Roman Cody showdown early on with the shoot-ish interview with Paul Heyman was pretty damn good.
Oh, I've love that.
Yeah, I've never been a mega Cody fan on a microphone. He's got his moments. This was his best work on a microphone for me.
I was going to say, the only other time I've been, I guess, moved by a promo that Cody's done was the one he did in AEW, and the fact that WWE quotes it now amazes me, because it's the one where he said, I went from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. And now they use that when they talk about him.
Sure.
So that's the only other promo that's really, that's the only other promo that's really stood out to me up until that one with Paul Heyman.
I like the fact that he even mentioned in his last promo the fact that, hey, you all know that when I left here, I went somewhere else.
Right.
You know, and so
and caused a bunch of problems.
Right, but acknowledging the fact that we all know what brought you back here. We all know what you've been doing since, and in the WWE's history, they tend to not mention those kind of things. So allowing him to bring that into the conversation opens up the doors. The fact that he did that little tribute to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega at the end of the Rumble, that was kind of cool. But man, to see where the whole conversation with him and Paul, you knew there was going to be a moment where it wasn't going to be all this kumbaya bullshit. But they really did a great job of leading it. It's like Heyman even saw it. It was like, you son of a bitch, you got me. You got me to be emotional. I wasn't here to do this. And you know all that story was true. I mean, Dusty going to ECW when he did. I didn't realize he was freaking broke. Hard to believe, man. But you know,
I remember the car commercials. Yeah.
He had a good little ECW run. I mean, it was the end of his career, but he still had some good matches with Carino and a few other guys. He made the video.
Yeah, because it was
so he got that money.
Yeah, because after that is when he went back to WWE and started working with the talent and stuff.
Yeah, NXT. He did so well for them in the NXT. And that, again, that was what was great about this promo. When Paul Lee starts going down the line, it's like he helped train and develop Seth Rollins. He helped train and develop Bayley. He helped train and develop Roman Reigns.
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns. And you know who he didn't train and develop? You. And then he says, Roman Reigns, he told Roman Reigns that he told Roman that you were his favorite son. But that Roman was the son he always wished he had. It's like, oh shit.
And you saw the look on Cody. And I, you know, from doing this for a brief time, when you do make things like that personal, it's easy to bring out that emotion because you start thinking, well, what if that was said? And that's when I saw the look on Cody's face. That's what it meant to me. Was like, it's like, what if my dad would have said that for real? And that's when you could see kind of the tears start to well up and that emotion start coming out. That's what I liked.
I agree. All right, moving on.
And then he grabs Paul's hair.
Well, there was the fallout. I guess I could have had that a little sooner.
Yeah.
There's going to be a price to be paid. And indeed there was. All right, and that brings us to, we actually did a poll on the live stream earlier, or not the live stream, but the ROH show I did earlier on, and I think it ended up being like 67% were not getting it on launch day. But WWE2K23, of course, is coming out in the not too distant future. I enjoy the fact that they've moved it to WrestleMania month. I wouldn't even mind seeing it come out a week later, even closer to WrestleMania launch. I think that wouldn't be a bad thing, but I'm fine with it being where it is. And from what we've seen so far, they always make the fucking thing look good before it goes live, okay? So I am not getting excited. Yeah, the springboard from one ring to the next looks cool as shit. Yeah, the fact that both rings are there and you can climb the cage and you can bring weapons in and they've shown an entire match and yeah, it looked great. I don't buy that shit until I get it and it works. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to crash like a motherfucker, just like last year, just like 20 did before that. I just don't think they can make that evolution into a war game scenario with 2 rings and have it all work. Now, they did talk about, if you didn't see the behind the scenes shit, how they started this process with 2K22 with the backstage area, how you were able to climb up there and all that. That was the stepping stone, if you will, the building block for war games. That was always the plan. In other words, they did that with the sole intention of taking that base model and parlaying it into the war games cage. So while we didn't know that, they did.
Or so they say.
Yeah, I want the son of a bitch to work. I mean, I'm tired of paying for broken games. That interview that I did for the last show with Ring of Honor earlier tonight, where I have to go there for my interview segments because they don't have them anymore. Once the action started breaking down, spoiler alert if you haven't watched my Ring of Honor show that was on earlier tonight, Pillman and Brian Cage get into this altercation. Well, the minute the promo breaks down into a physical altercation, there's no crowd noise. It dies. And that happened on 19 all the damn time during that segment. Even some of the matches it would do it. And I used to always have to have crowd noise available in case that happened, and then I'd click on it. Well, in this case, I pre-recorded the interview, so no big deal. I just threw crowd noise in behind it. But the fact that you had to do that even with 19, even that, which has been dealt with and accepted mostly by the community as the best game they've put out in the last 4 years, still broken. So for me to get excited about the possibility of this being the game that works, I don't really expect that. I expect it to break and break loud.
I know I kept saying that I was going to say, I know I kept saying that I wasn't going to get it when it came out. I wanted to wait, but I'm going to pull the trigger on it and just fucking keep everything crossed. And let's see what happens. I'm like in between you and Blaze. Blaze is all want to be all positive. You're like, the fucker's gonna break. I'm just like, I'm in the middle going, please God, just something.
I want to be positive too, and I'm trying to be positive. Like I said, what I've seen looks great, but that's the old saying, screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me.
Shame on me.
Unless it's George W. Bush, in which case it's like, fool me once, shame on me, you. Fool me, you ain't gonna fool me a second time. But yeah, I mean, I've drank the Kool-Aid and I've been fucked over for it. So now, prove me wrong. I'm going to take the safe bet. According to Vegas, it's going to crash like a fucker. So I'm going with the safe bet right now. And I agree, Ancient Clown, 100% with you. And I was all in on that. That was my game plan, 100%. I am not buying this motherfucker at launch. Fuck you. Problem is, I have a goddamn channel that kind of relies on the wrestling games. So if I want content that's going to be up to date and people are going to be interested in, then I've kind of got to do this. And the fact that AEW's Wait Forever still hasn't got a release date.
Right. Because I was toying with that idea too. Yeah. But it's like,
if they would have done the February release date, then I might have waited on that because I'd have content that's up to date.
Right.
But we don't know when that shit's coming out.
I do like how they've been putting out 6 people updates every couple of days on the roster.
Yeah, I haven't seen any updates that make me get excited. They got the Bellas coming back. Woohoo! Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, for me, it's mainly like a lot of the NXT people. It's like they're going to have Cora Jade, Grayson Waller, actually Carmelo Hayes and stuff. So I'm a little bit excited about those to get them in and start using them. Yeah.
Yeah, Braun Breaker. So they're going to have an updated NXT roster, which is good because they've got some good talent there.
Right.
I haven't heard if they're going to have Fallon Henley, who I'm totally in love with looking at. Probably not, with my luck, but damn it, I like that girl.
I found one of hers that I almost downloaded.
She's dropped that gorgeous, that girl. She really is. Purists, they've already said that's not happening. The double ring is only with the War Games, so that's not going to be an issue. I like the fact that as I'm seeing some of these YouTubers coming out and like, man, I hope it can do this. I hope it can do that. It's like, you motherfuckers, man, you were just hoping to get War Games. You got that. Now you wanted to do every friggin' imaginable feature. You got your damn War Games. Hope it doesn't crash every time and you have to reload and install the game every time you play it, okay? Stop asking for more than what you've already got right now. Get through this year with the fact you have War Games and it might work.
Well, you got to look at it this way. Most of those guys are millennials. It's like, gimme, 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 gimme.
I guess. Create an arena, we'll see what it has. I'm wondering how much carryover material there's going to be. Like, I have not yet seen that they're going to have sold out arena again, which you only had it this 1 year, so it'd be nice to bring it back again for a second year, even if it's a different version of NWO sold out. They did a couple years of that. So that's where that's at anyway. So yeah, I'm going to get the Icon edition because I really do actually want to get the Leviathan and the prototype.
Yeah, same here.
And the early Randy Orton. So fuckers got me again. I honest to God thought it was going to be the Fiend, which I wouldn't give a shit. We got to touch base on this real quick. I wasn't thinking about that.
I know. Okay.
What the fuck? Seriously, just what the fuck? How do you fuck up bringing the Fiend back the way they have fucked up bringing the Fiend back? How do you do that? You have to try to fuck that up. Anything good about his return? Anything? I got nothing.
I was all on board, and as the weeks have went by, it's dwindled down. Do I think LA Knight has done a hell of a job against him in promos and stuff? Absolutely. But when you promote when you promote a match and it goes 5 minutes and it looks like I'm at a fucking disco club, I was dumbfounded. I was like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? This is what we got. All this time we waited to see you back in the ring. This is what we got.
All right, so I'm going to play the other side of the fence on that one then. I liked the concept of Pitch Black, which, by the way, tried to find some Mountain Dew just to taste this shit. Didn't have it on a shelf, didn't even have it offered out there, so maybe it's already run its course. I don't know. I was willing to give it a shot just to see it. I was actually going to bring it and have it on the show, hold up the can, but nope, couldn't find it anywhere in the store. I liked it for a number of reasons, the lighting aspect of it. Would I want to see it on a regular basis? No. Would it be cool in a video game? Actually, it probably could be. The fact that we're seeing Bray Wyatt in the ring, and aside from the 2 dark circles under his eyes, which could have been from a late night, he had no discernible look. And then the lights go out and his whole makeup job changes. That was cool. It's something I haven't seen before in wrestling. And again, when you can make something new happen, you have to champion that to a certain level. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. Then we have the match. There is nothing to discuss in that match that was positive. Zero. It wasn't any kind of back and forth whatsoever. You buried LA Knight, which is the shittiest thing you can do to a young up-and-coming talent that you have. And when I say young, he ain't that young. I mean, he's getting to that point where now's kind of his time. If you're going to do something with him, you got a window of a few years. Now you got to do something with him. And what'd you do? You buried him. He's taking kendo sticks, whacking him with him, no effect. And I look, when you listen to the Jim Cornettes and even some of these other guys out there.
I was going to say, I listened to his review on it.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys of his ilk are just bashing the crap out of the no-sell and this and this stupid over-the-top, fantasy mystery thing and Uncle Howdy from the Magic Tour. If you didn't have a problem with The Undertaker, then shut the fuck up. Because it's the
problem was
shit.
Right. My problem isn't the character, and it wasn't even the match. It was the content in the match, like you said.
Yeah, it was the match.
You buried LA Knight in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You had Bray Wyatt no selling, and then that. Oh my God! Whoever planned that dive, fucked that all up, because you could tell it was a goddamn crash pad, and he missed LA Knight by a fucking 2 feet.
All right.
So those are the things that pissed me off.
I was going to get to that.
Well, those are the things that pissed me off about it.
Sure.
The technical aspects of it.
And from a technical standpoint, they did everything they planned to do. Everything. Chris Jericho falling off the top of the cage, going through the ramp. Again, crash pad, of course. Nobody's going to land on cement from 10 feet in the fucking air. It's just not going to do it. Okay, ECW is dead and buried. It's gone. Those days are over. You're not going to have some nutcase jumping off the top of a scaffold, going through 20 tables, bouncing off a ring rope, and damn near going to the cemetery. So
no, but when Shane McMahon jumped off the Titantron on the Big Show or on the Test, they at least had the boxes stacked up high enough that you couldn't see the fucking crash pad. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to do something like that, hide it better.
But they've done that so many times. AEW does it almost every damn time. They go through a crash pad. Almost every time you see the crash pad. Back when Mae Young and Bully Ray put her through, you could see the crash pad. I mean, I can't think of too many times where you couldn't see it. Now, here's the thing. Everyone's talking about the fact that his brother, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, whatever, missed the elbow spot. Of course he missed the fucking elbow. You think LA Knight's going to take an elbow off the 20-foot high stage? Hell no, he ain't going to take that shit. But they position the camera below the box, so you're shooting up, and you never see the actual miss. Now, that said, you could still tell he missed because LA Knight didn't react instantly to impact because there wasn't any, and he did roll into the new hole that was created by the missed elbow. But you didn't see it miss because the camera was below the eye level of the stage by design so that you wouldn't see it was a miss. Of course, all the fans in attendance saw that it was a miss, and then their cell phone video got out showing you how bad a miss it was. And yeah, maybe it could have got a little bit closer. But again, you're coming off almost 15, 20 feet above. And it's not like it's Jeff Hardy. So, I don't know. I feel like they did as much as they were going to do with that spot. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is the fact that you buried LA Knight. And whether it's true or not, I mean, we're not in the locker room. But you hear a lot of these guys who have moles stating that a lot of people don't want to work with Bray Wyatt now.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me. It's like, who wants to get buried? Because while he may, there's that whole thing about the 30th year or 30th anniversary Raw, and The Undertaker had that moment where he said something to Bray Wyatt. And what did he say? We'll never know. I'm sure we'll know after Wyatt retires and does some documentary like The Undertaker's Last Ride one. And he'll probably at that time maybe mention what was said or something like that. But in the meantime, we can all presume. If it was a passing of the torch, and I'm fine with that type of character. It's wrestling, okay? A little bit of everything. We know there's no actual dark realm and things like that. But even when Rosemary and them do an Impact, it's fun. It's entertaining. She plays it well. Her team plays it off. It couldn't work for everybody, but it works for them. Well, the same thing goes with Bray Wyatt. It can work for him. And there's a lot of people pissing and moaning about the thought that it's going to bring Alexa Bliss back into it. I like Alexa Bliss with the dark personality and all that shit. And I've always been a fan of that part of her. I mean, she can do anything. Anything you give her, she's going to make it work. She's that good.
Right. I guess I was more disappointed because, I've followed Bray ever since he was down in FCW, then NXT when it changed over and everything like that. And I guess I was expecting more from him. And maybe that's on me for expecting too much. But after his past body of work, and then that's what I got, I'm a little jaded now.
Well, and talking about his past body of work was choreographed for him by people like Vince McMahon. Whereas reports have it that part of him coming back is that he has a lot of freedom with his character and the direction it goes in. That a lot of people say that he has an incredible mind when it comes to the imagination and the story aspects of what he wants his character to do, but that it needs to be reined in, and that right now maybe not enough reining in is taking place because Vince, at the end of the day, always had that, whereas now maybe that's not there as much.
I guess I saw him more, I don't know. It's just that I think back to when him and Eric and Brody were all together. That was the best version of him ever. And this was nowhere fucking close to that.
Well, like I said, I won't pretend that it was as good because it wasn't. It's something different. Yeah. And I just thought that there should have been a much better payoff. It's his first time back in a ring.
Right.
I hope for LA Knight's sake. I'm not entirely on board with him in his promos. He has the ability, but even back in NWA, I felt like he's trying to copy Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, you get that a little bit when he says
right
stuff.
down to the Well, what's the matter? You forgot the word hell? You think taking the word hell makes it's like you gotta come up with something different, man. That is kind of trademarked, and I'm surprised that gimmick infringement cops aren't coming after him. Yeah. I mean, what's his opening thing? Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
All right. So
let me
work
talk
off
to
of
you.
that. Yeah, that's okay. That's something nobody else has done that I know of. And he's got a good voice. And the thing is, the funny thing is this: was it him? It had to be. I believe he was in a movie with The Rock, in like a supporting role of some sort. You know, maybe not a big role, but was it him? It had to be. And I think it was another CVV.
I was going to say, I've seen a YouTube short where he's impersonating The Rock, and he sounds just like The Rock.
That was it. So they were talking about on the set, there were people that were like behind the scenes on the headphones and didn't get to see what was happening on set per se, and they thought that he's like, because he's I kind of sound like The Rock. And then it was Van Vliet, because he's like, now that you're saying it, all I can hear is The Rock. So when you have that voice that is so close to that, and then you're also coming up with well, now you're kind of stealing from this guy. You can't help your voice. Your voice is your voice, right? Unless you're gonna go twisting it around and shit, which I don't recommend doing on a long-term basis. Okay,
he hasn't seen it. He hasn't seen it, Blaze.
I haven't seen it yet, and that's not going to help me any because I don't even know who Gigi Dolan is other than the name. And she's, I think, a member of the former
Toxic Attraction. She's she's the redhead.
Okay, so otherwise I don't even know who she was. So I'm going to watch that right after this is done because I haven't seen it, and apparently I need to. So okay. Yo, Blaze in the house. Blaze. Welcome aboard, sir. All right, I'm really going to have to watch this.
It wasn't Grayson's finger that got broke. It was Dijack's.
I hope Grayson's going to be in the game because I've seen a couple of his matches.
He is.
I'm really impressed with him.
That's what I said. They've done an NXT update, and he's one of the NXT guys.
Very good, because I'm impressed with him in the ring a lot. I think he's got really great timing, and it's smooth, and
they ain't missing too much by the people they're pulling from Australia. They've got him, they got Rhea, so yes.
And D-Jack is another one that Dijak, whatever they're calling him.
Yeah.
That I saw last week, and I guess they've kind of given him a new look.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, at Vengeance, I'm sure you didn't watch Vengeance Day either.
Oh, did that happened already?
On
That
Saturday.
was Saturday, wasn't it? How did I not know that?
Yeah.
Shit. I guess I got to. Do I need to watch it? Was it good?
Well, in the opening match, he faces the North American champion.
Oh, shit.
Wesley.
Yeah, the half of the tag team
Yeah,
that never made it into the video game.
Right. So what happened was at the end of the match, he does this backflip onto Dijak, and Dijak goes to block, and you see this finger start pointing that way.
I've seen this video, or a still image, I should say. I didn't realize it was from that. So that happened in Vengeance?
Yeah, and you see it right on the camera, and he's laying there with it all bent out of shape, and I'm going, oh my God.
I had a thumb dislocated, and that didn't look too pretty. But yeah, and then I guess Bray Wyatt put out a picture of his, which is still all fucked up right now. I guess all bent sideways and shit. Is they welcome to the club.
Right.
And I'm thinking, if I got Bray Wyatt money, I'm getting that shit fixed. I don't want to look like a freak.
But
so Blaze says NXT Vengeance was actually pretty good, so I guess I might have to check.
It was decent. I would say that first match with Dijak and Wesley is the match of the night.
The first match
just
of the
because,
night was the one?
Yeah.
Oh,
because Wesley made Dijak look like a monster, and he did his job very well. I was really impressed.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Is this not going to work with me? Hold on a minute. That's weird. So I finally got my Jay Briscoe shirt. That actually came today, and I was like, oh, perfect timing. I like this shirt a lot.
Yeah, as soon as I get my income tax here in about a week or so, I'm ordering mine. So
it's really, I mean, unfortunate, but it's perfect in the same time.
Yeah.
Reach for the sky.
Right.
Great picture of him with the ROH title. Easily one of my favorite shirts instantly. I find it incredibly weird because I didn't hardly know anything about the Briscoes until they hit Impact. First match was really good. So was the Waller Braun cage. Oh, that's right. I forgot there was a cage match. So I guess I'll watch that first, maybe, because if I watch NXT, it's going to spoil that. Gosh damn, that's more. Well, I'll fast forward a lot of it, so I'll manage.
Yeah.
I mean, it my homework.
Yeah, it was a decent pay-per-view. It's one of the better ones they've put out recently. But like I said, for me,
takeovers used to be gold every time. They were better than they would always be on Saturday, and then the WWE would be on Sunday's pay-per-view, right? And Saturday was always better than Sunday. I mean, I'll never forget Brooklyn 1 with Bayley and Sasha. I don't remember the rest of the card. I remember the rest of the card was also awesome. It was like a bell-to-bell, first match to last match. Every match was great. And then I forget which one was it where Velveteen went up against Black.
Oh, God.
It was like maybe 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there, I think.
Yeah.
But that match was fucking off the hook. It was perfect. And I didn't even watch much of the build-up to that match. At that time, Bayley and her team, once the Bayley class left, I kind of left too, because there was just so much talent that went at once. I felt disconnected.
Right.
It's like everyone I liked got moved up in one fell swoop. And I just didn't feel like building up from scratch again. But I did check the takeovers because they were always so good.
And it's funny you say that, because I've seen a lot of people tweeting here recently going with the same sentiment, like, don't pull all this talent from NXT at once, because now you're going to have to rebuild again.
Yeah, and I get that's really the goal of the program anyway. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. Yeah.
But
you don't want to leave a void there either.
Yeah. One of the reasons I haven't done much in the last week and a half is for those of you that are in the gaming world, there was a game that came out several months back called Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn, when I got that game, I did like back-to-back 10-hour streams. I couldn't put it down. I was just into this thing. Love this fucking game. So when the sequel comes out, I'm all hyped up, ready to go. You have the same character, this girl named Aloy. Only thing is, she's back to being weak. You know, I have none of the weapons that I had before. I have none of the special. I spent hours making her Supergirl, man. I can beat up these. Now, I mean, yeah, you get your ass kicked in the earlier matches, but now you can go back and go up against that Tyrannosaurus Rex mechanical thing and take it out in like 5 fell swoops, and you got God mode going. Right now, I know you're not going to give me God mode in the beginning of the game, but damn it, I feel like I'm back to being wimp level, and it pissed me off. And it's like I put the game away. It's like I literally put like 2 hours into it. I felt like I got kicked in the dick. And then finally, I don't know what it was, about a week ago, I had the week off, and I picked it up figuring I'm going to try and get a few hours into this thing. And as I kept going and building up and having more power, and they have new ways of doing shit now in the game, I went back to 10-hour sessions, man. I was cranking like 10 hours. And there's still, I mean, I'm done with the storyline, but there's so much left to do in this open world monstrosity, and there's DLC coming in the near future. And that's what actually I think kicked me in the ass to get back into it, is the DLC's coming out, and I still ain't playing the main campaign yet. So if you're looking for something entertaining to do, if you haven't played the first Horizon, you can get that thing pretty cheap nowadays, probably $20 or less. Or if you go on eBay, I'm sure you get a used copy for even 15 or so. Well worth the fucking money. Amazing game. The sequel game, every bit as good. Arguably could be better because it has now got better graphics. You definitely want the PS5 version. If you have a PS5, it is that damn good. It really is. So that's been occupying so much of my time. My plan was to jump on and do some more missions on that after this, but now I feel like I'm going to go check out some NXT and make something to eat.
But Blaze is right. It did help that they were in the big arena this time and not back there at the home place.
Yeah, that's true. They've been doing a lot of stuff in the training facility, which it's only going to be so good. Yeah, we did talk about that earlier on. I was mentioning that I'm not a massive Cody on the mic guy, but I thought that was by far his best work ever. And I really thought that he and Paul pulled off a really, really good segment. Big surprise that Paul Heyman had a great segment, right? And that's one of the things that Cornette was talking about recently. It's like, I hope they have a B plan somewhere, because Paul ain't getting any younger, and from the look of him, his cholesterol is probably not so good either. But he's right. If Paul's gone and Roman's gone, who you got on the mic? Who's selling tickets? Yeah, Sammy's shown that he can do it. But you just don't have that many legit mic people.
Right. And like I said before, when you have that personal history with the person across from you, it makes those promos that much better.
Absolutely. And those two, it felt like they didn't rehearse anything. Like they came out there, maybe had a couple of bullet points, and that was it. This is where we're going to end up. How you guys get there, figure it out. And it almost feels to me like I'd be curious to know how much of that they knew was going to, because if it was as raw as it felt, then it was genius. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I said, the emotion in Cody's face at the end, boy. Woo.
Yeah. It was, man, it just felt very natural in the way that the conversation went from, thank you for what you've done for me and my family.
Everybody wants to make this personal. I'm just trying.
Yeah. Yep. I agree totally.
Personally.
Yeah, there you're back. You froze up for a minute.
Yeah, so did you.
All right. Yeah, well, but we have some friggin', I don't know what happened with the internet the other day, man. I'm in the middle of this friggin' live stream for the NWO sold out. It's all going pretty well. And then I look down and I see it's frozen and I got no picture going out. I'm like, you motherfuckers. So I start recording it. So at least I can save it and just keep on. I'm going to keep going on and watching it back. Yeah, a lot of that Triple H match was lost. So thankfully I did have it backed up. Most of it that was lost and put it up there. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, pick up the part 2.
Go watch the found footage.
The found footage. Because honestly, it was the best cage match I've had in WWE 2K23 or 22 period. It was good back and forth stuff. Every aspect of the cage was kind of used a little bit, and had some good drama building. I enjoyed the way that match went, and it almost didn't get seen. So if I wasn't paying attention to that second screen, that's the best investment I've had, is that second screen. Otherwise, that would have been very
me
easy.
and Clown was like, it ain't on our end. It has to be on his.
Yeah, no, it was. Matter of fact, I even tried. I didn't realize it was still going out. Yeah, when you see the controller pop up on the screen, which now I've edited that out of the video. But when it came up on the screen, I thought I was out, like you guys weren't seeing anything. So I'm over here trying to call, and if it was on speakerphone, you might have even heard it. I'm calling Spectrum to say where the fuck's going on. We are receiving so many calls right now that we cannot even take anymore. I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty big. And the first thought in my mind is that fucking balloon. Fucking China. I couldn't wait till I was done with my stream to fuck up the country, right?
Right.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, technology. Oh. Yeah, I can't even blame what happened to me on 2K this time, so I don't know how it happened, but it's like...
Yeah, that sucks, man. That really does suck, and well, you know what I'm saying, man.
Real quick, anybody watching who hasn't looked at the post I put on my channel, it's going to be a couple weeks. I got to do a reboot. My files got corrupted, and I've got to build everything back from the ground up. So please just bear with me. So
should have it up just in time for 2K23.
Exactly. Yeah.
I when you were posting that, and I'm thinking to myself, knowing how much work that's going to be and how much time-consuming shit that's going to be, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I would throw the towel in and just say fuck it and wait. Tough call, because at the same point in time, you're going to end up waiting for creators to make stuff for 23.
Right, and that's what I was looking at too. I'm like, okay, if it takes me 2 weeks to get everything back up to where I had it, then I'm still going to have like 3 or 4 weeks waiting on other people when 2K23 comes out to get stuff. So I've got to, at least I'll have something to work with then. So, and up until that point. So
I know I'll be probably diving straight into the Cena campaign so I can unlock everything that needs to be unlocked. And then from there, I'm going to be heavily messing with universe mode to see what that all looks like and what changes have been made. So if you guys are into that aspect of things, be here at midnight on, I guess, midnight on the 14th, which is technically midnight on the 13th.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there. All right, I'm going to catch up on a whole bunch of NXT, apparently. Whatever the fast forward doesn't take out. And hopefully there's some good stuff there and broken fingers and all. So, all right. Well,
I'm telling you, Jay, you're going to see him hit that. To what?
Who was it that I'm looking for?
Say goodbye, Jay?
Well, who's getting injured?
Okay. So you're looking for Dijak in the first match. No, it'll be at the end of the match.
Oh, the first match?
Yeah, it's the first match.
Oh, okay. So I won't have to wait long.
And it'll be, trust me, it'll be at the end of the match, and you'll see the kick, and you'll go, "Oh my god!" Whoa. And then Yep, and then you want the ding dong hello segment for NXT to see what happened there. So,
all right. Like I said, I'm going to zoom through this stuff as best I can and see what I need to see.
yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here. I know it's been a little bit of time, and so we had some catching up to, and that's why we went about 30 minutes longer than I planned. But you guys stayed with it,
Yep.
and that's all that matters. So with that in mind, we'll be back with some more Wrestle Chat in the not too distant future. Until then, say goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, Jay.
See everybody next time. Until then, good night. Where's my stuff? Something disappeared, man. Hold on a minute. Oh, they moved it here. Okay, sorry. See ya.